All right, everybody. I am Andrew Baydala. Some of you know me, some of you might not. It is great to be here on the Wrestle Purist channel. This is where I'm going to be bringing majority of my weekly, daily content. I'm not coming alone. I'm going to introduce the two men who will be helping me out, co-hosting my Tuesdays and Thursday shows, which will be live at 2:30 p.m. Eastern every Tuesday and Thursday right here on the Wrestle Purist channel. The first person I'm going to bring in, you're very familiar with because I've done a lot with him. We have a successful show on Final Bell Media, which has now been acquired by Wrestle Purist, not Final Bell Media. The show, he is Mr. Juice Springsteen. Juice, what's going on, buddy? How are you?
Pretty good, Andrew. How about yourself?
Wow, Andrew. Okay.
I'm feeling pure, Drew.
Feeling pure. Juice, always good to have you on. Me and Juice have a lot of chemistry together. We've done a bunch of shows, been to a bunch of different shows together, so this should be a very easy and quick transition. Juice is a WCW historian, and he's all around a wrestling historian, so it's a good yin and yang. I see you got your Steelers stuff on. So
I see. Do you have Jet stuff on?
Oh, no, I don't. This is a Roback.
It's green. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Well, listen, the Jets suck. Jets suck. You got Raji, so enjoy him. Boy, a lot to talk about, Juice. We have been kind of off the air for a little bit on purpose. So we'll get right into it here in a minute. I'm going to announce the second man to join us. I believe this man has a very bright future in the sports entertainment media landscape. He's part of the Wrestle Collective. He's also a friend of mine. Spent some time together in Dallas. I don't think we've ever done like shows together. I've collaborated with him, but let's bring in Jordan. Jordan, how are you, my man?
How you guys doing, man? I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for bringing me on. I love this opportunity. How are you guys doing, though?
I'm good. I can't complain. Jordan, I believe you are going to make a lasting impact in this industry. Juice has kind of been around since I've been around, so Juice is younger than I am. Got his start in media a lot earlier than I did with Justin LeBar. And what was that called?
Chair Shot
Reality. Yeah. Okay. So this is the crew. Jordan will be with me on Tuesdays at 2:30 Eastern time, 1:30 Central. And Drew and Juice will air on the Wrestle Purist channel starting Thursdays at this time slot, which you're currently in. I'll be honest with you, because I always am. We are not going to do the dirt. I never have. We will talk about things that are topical or trending topics or whatever, but I'm not going to sit back and tell you I talked to such and such and such, this person and that person, they said this and whatever else, because I'll be honest with you, everybody talks to everybody. And everybody has an agenda. And realistically, if the boys and girls in the industry are talking to you, you should keep your mouth shut. Just me. All right. Let's get to what everyone's here to talk about, which is the debut here on Wrestle Purist. We're going to talk about Crown Jewel, which is happening in Perth. We are also going to take two topics. I don't know what they are, for Mr. Juice Springsteen and Mr. Jordan, as that's what I like to do. I like to keep it organic. Otherwise, you feel, doesn't come off organic. So I'll start with Juice. Juice, first question on the Wrestle Purist channel for myself and you, some trending topics. And Jordan, you jump in here as well. What do you got, buddy?
I mean, it's the trending topic of 2025, and we are rapidly approaching the end of 2025. So, Drew, with the announcement of the Saturday night's main event finally happening December 13th in Washington, D.C., you can give me some of your business side of the things, with the seats and whatever, but who do you see as John Cena's final opponent, and how do we get there? Well, there have been some rumors that we could get a tournament, I want to face John Cena. No, I want to face John Cena. What do you think, and who do you think ultimately faces John Cena?
Man, seems like some people are excited for Jordan, as they should be. I would say, I saw a lot of people sitting back saying, oh, it's Gunther, it's Gunther, it's Gunther. Obviously, I believe that that's a strong possibility. Gunther's a great choice. But I think a lot of people are forgetting that John Cena has a Madison Square Garden appearance and a TD Garden in Boston appearance. And I don't think John is just going to show up and cut a promo and thanks, New York, thanks, Boston, see you later. I think John's going to wrestle. I think John wrestles Gunther at either Madison Square Garden or TD Garden. I think his final opponent is going to be saved for Roman Reigns. And why I say that is because I think the DC show, although I know I could say this, I'm not going to do dirt, but I could say this. I know John Cena and some others really in John Cena's camp really wanted John's final match to be in Boston. Even the city of Boston was preparing for it and bidding and everything else. I do believe some of the things that I saw is out off the wall. Some of the things I saw were crazy, but I will tell you this. I do think the sitting president of the United States of America will probably be at this show. That I will say. I think that's something.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, I think that's going to be something that, ends up happening.
But you said Roman as the final opponent?
Yeah, I think it's Roman.
Is that just where the money is at, or do you think that's where the story ends up?
Well, again, Gunther would be a great final opponent, just because everyone pretends like Gunther's young, like Homeboy's not young. Okay,
he's been in this game for a minute,
right? But Roman could use nothing, so I understand why people are like, "Why would you do that?" But I think the equity that John is going to pass, if there is any, to Gunther or to like a Dominic Mysterio would be absolutely a gift.
I think if John's going out with his historic career, I think there's only one or two opponents that make the most sense and that would make the most money. And that's The Rock or Randy Orton.
Well, they did the Orton thing, so I would love to see that.
I could see them coming back to it. I could see them because Randy's really not doing much of anything significant right now. And it would be cool to see them a face versus face dynamic in this. And they just have such a tied history together. Because, I mean, again, this is no spoiler, but Randy's also getting up there in age as well. Sure. So I think we have to start thinking about some of him. So and then Dwayne with Rock, there's this kind of small little rumor that he may put on the boots again.
I could squash that. I
didn't think so because I don't see him coming back. But I think there's a story to be told with the program to be told, especially because of the heel turn and everything, and now the face turn. I think there's something that could be there with Rock and Cena.
Here's what I'll say about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, DJ. I think that he will show up at this DC show to say goodbye to John, maybe shake his hand, hug him, whatever. It's going to be a who's who, but The Rock's not wrestling. And I don't believe The Rock's wrestling anytime soon. And this is not like some sort of like breaking news. Yeah. I talked about this over a month ago. A lot of people are using I'm trying to use my words carefully here, the disappointment of the Smashing Machine at the box office as a catalyst for Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson to jump back into wrestling. Okay. We're in a different time. I know movies make a lot of money if they're a smash, no pun intended, at the box office, and the Smashing Machine did not. There is also the availability from Fandango and some other entities that you can rent the movie before it's pretty much available for like $35 to $40. And I think Smashing Machine is going to do very, very well on that platform. Will they make the $50 million they initially invested? It's probably worth $50. I'm just kidding. Haven't seen it yet. I don't know, but I think that they'll end up either breaking even, which is not what you want to do. But I don't think they'll lose money. And The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, also has a Scorsese motion picture coming up. So the opportunity for The Rock to wrestle or even be involved in anything major was last year. Or this current year at WrestleMania, and it didn't happen. Could it happen in Saudi Arabia? Absolutely. But that's after we are done with the Scorsese film. Go ahead, Juice.
And I'll say this. So to bounce off of all of those, first of all, The Rock hasn't had a box office quote failure since maybe one of his first movies. Just because all of his movies had been box office smashes doesn't mean that the movie's not good. And I think the reviews that I've seen have said that Smashing Machine has been, relatively solid. Rotten Tomatoes, IMDb, everybody seems to think it's good. So I think
nobody goes to the movies anymore, Juice. Truthfully.
If you've seen it, it's a stylized version of the original Smashing Machine documentary.
Sure.
Which is very good. If you're an MMA fan or purist like myself, it's good. And I would bet that this movie is actually better than what some people think, because they're probably thinking biopic or something like that when it's not really. Like, it's a stylized version of that.
First of all, I'm going to watch the Smashing Machine, whether I have to pay $25 one night, me and the wife want to have a bottle of wine and watch it, or I get it on Paramount Plus or whatever it decides to come out on, whoever buys the rights. I don't know what studio has it, so I might be speaking out of turn when I say Paramount Plus. Just giving you an example. Whatever. I think it's A28, isn't it?
A24.
A24.
Whatever the hell it is. There you go.
Oh my God.
So again,
Drew knows a lot of stuff about wrestling, not as much about film.
I mean, listen, just show me where I got to go. I either purchase it or I don't. A lot of people aren't going to the movies. I mean, I've taken my children to some movie theaters. The only one that I could say in the past year that was packed was the Minecraft movie. I mean, it was.
What's the last movie y'all went to?
Minecraft movie with my children.
Minecraft.
The most recent Final Destination movie.
Okay, yeah, but you're
Final
right,
Destination 76. Like what?
Yeah, it's probably the best movie out of the entire franchise.
What number?
It's just called Final Destination Bloodline.
Yeah, it's like a reboot but continuation. Yeah, one of those. Yeah.
Right.
Bloodline.
Well, I mean, I'm a big Scream fan, so if Scream ends up back in the movie theaters for Scream 7, I'll go with my wife.
It's supposed to be really good.
All right, so then there we go. A lot of people are talking about, age is irrelevant and all this other stuff. You're right, to a certain extent. HBO Max gets the A24 films. Thank you. So HBO Max, there you go. Which would be hysterical, truthfully, if The Rock and AEW and all that other stuff. But anyways, that's a conversation for another day. But age isn't irrelevant when we're talking about John Cena, because I don't think John's going to do the time-honored tradition that happens in the wrestling business when you lay down and you look up at the lights for the three and you go on your merry way.
He wants to.
Right. And I know that Sting changed the game. I know he did. I get it with his retirement and everything else like that. I just don't see John doing that. I think
you brought up an interesting point, because I think Sting had to go out that way because of how his WWE run went. Because that went kind of sour and whatnot. Because I think we both can agree he probably should have beaten Triple H at that Mania. And so therefore, I think that left a lot of weird taste. So I think Sting is the outlier when it comes to the retirement. For John, though, I think John is another outlier. I think John kind of deserves to go out on top.
I could tell you this. Sting's, and this isn't dirt. I think this has been talked about. If not, whatever. Here you go. Breaking news. When Sting came into WWE, they were extremely pleased. WWE was. When we got to WrestleMania for Sting's match and they had rehearsals, they were not.
I can imagine.
He looked out of shape. They thought that he looked old. They thought everything. And that's why you saw the NWO and DX and everything else like that infiltrate that match. WWE and Triple H was not happy with the way Sting came into WrestleMania 31. And although I agree, I was there, I thought Sting should have went over. At that point, it was moot because they were extremely unhappy with the way that Sting looked and carried himself going into that match the night before. So there you go.
Well, here's the thing, though. It also didn't end there. He came back and had a world title match against Seth Rollins. So his career ended kind of abruptly by way of injury. And I think that AEW took that chance of, well, let's make a good out of whatever we have left. Let's do it however we want to do it. And just a quick note before we add to that. You say either Garden could be Gunther. I think Dom Mysterio could be one of his last two opponents. And if not the last, maybe at Survivor Series because it's in San Diego. Do you think a one-on-one match or a War Games match type thing is more likely for Cena if he goes to Survivor Series?
Those that have talked in regards to John, what he wants to do and everything else like that, I do believe that War Games is on his bingo card, his list, because I don't think I know he'll never get the opportunity again if he does not wrestle in that match at Survivor Series. The Dominic Mysterio stuff is interesting because they actually have had matches against each other. They're just dark matches, non-televised. So will WWE throw those out on the vault one day and just say, well, here, you didn't get Dom, but we had a match and it was taped. So I don't know.
And he's the IC champion. That's a title he's seen as never won. They could play up plenty of angles there.
That is a great point. And here's what I will say. Dom in Boston would be great. Gunther in the Garden, Madison Square Garden, would be great. But I will say this. If for some reason Dom versus John in DC for the one championship that John Cena has never held, and John wins and then vacates it, I'd be okay with that.
I think that'd be a great, because so John Cena's career, they've put him up on this pedestal to be like the greatest, right? The greatest wrestler champ ever.
What's the line, Juice?
Never seen 17, or am I thinking of another one? Another line.
Greatest of all time. Yep. Go ahead, George.
So him winning this title that he's never touched before, I think would truly make him the greatest of all time. And honestly, I think, Juice, because you're onto something, because then there's a lot of marketing you can play off of that. You can use that, GOAT moniker for the next game. That's a merch that you could sell, because he literally would have won every single title in the company and done it more so, like a lot of times over. So I could see Dom for that aspect alone. I do want to ask what other young guys, because if he is one to look up at the lights, what other young guys would he put over?
I don't see one right now besides Dom. I know Gunther's not young, but I'm talking about equity from John in DC on his final match. You have to throw Gunther. You have to throw Dominic Mysterio out there. There's a long list of guys I would like to see John Cena before he leaves, but our time is running out. I mean, Montez Ford is one of them, which they have had a match, just non-televised. There's just a lot of guys right now, truthfully.
Same with Carmelo, but I just feel like WWE has booked themselves to, I only got 5 dates left. Now they're setting up this AJ Styles match via Twitter. And there could have been a lot of time to set up one of these final matches with a story. And now instead it's just going to come off as, well, we want to get this match in. So that's why I kind of disagree with you, Jordan, on Randy Orton, because they did that already at Backlash. And unless they made Orton a heel, which I think they're saving for the Cody Rhodes thing, that's the only angle I could see. But, with time running out, it's just like there's
but that's another guy, Juice. That's another guy, Juice and Jordan. Double J. Double E. Listen, Cody, right? Do we want a rematch? A lot of people are saying, give me Cody
third
again.
Match. Yeah, 3 matches in 1 year.
I wouldn't mind. Because personally, I think Cody needs a little bit of reheating right now.
Is it a little microwave, or are we talking about air fryer? Or are we talking
about? Just 15 seconds. Just hit the start button. Because he's. I'm not going to say he's stale, but he's about to be. He's getting close to, because I just think Cody needs a new ripple, and John and their skills on the mic, both of them, I think would be a good, nice little ripple.
Obafemi. Braun Breaker. I mean, again, the list goes on and on with Oba would be great. I mean, listen, give me Oba and John at the Garden. Go ahead. I don't care.
Yeah, that's where those those 2 TV show appearances are the best opportunities for one of those younger guys, because like I said,
he's on SmackDown tonight, right? Or tomorrow, right? John?
Is it Crown Jewel and then Garden, Survivor Series, Saturday Night's Main Event? There's nothing.
So he's not on SmackDown. Okay. Because
if you bring up an Obafemi or any of these other guys, it's just like you have to rush into it if you want to have it as his last match. So having it at any of the Garden Raws, that could lend itself to Obafemi, and gives one of those new guys a real chance to show what they got.
Let's throw a twist into this, okay? Let's just say John has Obafemi at Madison Square Garden. He has Gunther at TD Garden. John loses both of those matches. And the final match is against Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship. And John has lost 2 out of his final 3 matches, single-wise. And people are starting to doubt John again and everything else like that. I know Dom gets no equity in this because he loses, but he kind of wins by association in that.
He wins by being in the match.
Exactly. And I know John has an immense amount of respect for Dom's father, Ray. So he could make Oba. He would completely push Gunther into another echelon. And then he would even make Mysterio, that Dom, even by beating him. I just, there's a lot of opportunity here. I think
there's a lot of opportunity for them to use John in a way to not only make him look good on his way out, but bolster up. Because if we're saying Oba, that's a great call-up match. You know, John in the Garden, whatever, open challenge, Oba makes his main roster debut against John Cena. You know, how massive would that be?
That'd be big.
Even if Oba loses, that's still like a good thing. You know, so I would actually like to see Oba. Now that I'm thinking about it.
I think when you look at this, you look at Dominic Mysterio, Oba Femi, and Gunther. They're all signed to WWE realistically long term. So John wouldn't lose anything by helping these talents out by taking a pinfall loss. And Dominic Mysterio, again, whoever is in that final match by de facto stock is going to rise. Even Roman stock, which I don't know how much it could rise, is going to rise if it's John and him in DC for his last match, John Cena's at Saturday Night's Main Event. Again, John Cena has done so much for the business. I know that Michael Cole might have slipped when we were at, what was it? Not Crown Jewel. They were in Clash in Paris. And he said something about January. I asked you two don't know this, obviously, because we didn't talk about anything. I literally jumped in here and said, we're going live, boys.
Yeah.
Do you think that John's going to have another match? Or do you think this is it? I'm under the impression John's done because John's a man of his word. But Michael Cole doesn't make those type of mistakes.
I think that John loves the game. I think John, I implore everybody to, there's a interview John did with Shannon Sharp on Club Shay Shay, and getting to know John Cena, the man, the person. He loves this. He loves WWE. And so I could see if they said, hey, can we get one more? You know, can you stretch it out to January, please? I could see him saying yes. Now, he was very adamant that this is it. You know, I'm done. In that very same interview, he was very adamant that, you know, I'm done. But he loves the game and he loves what WWE has done for him. So I could see him giving, and like you said, Michael Cole's a man of very few mistakes.
All right.
So,
yeah. And then we're going to get into some of these super chats. If you guys want to send in your super chats, make sure you do so. We will read your comments, obviously, and answer them. That's the only way that we will answer your questions if you have a super chat. Go ahead, Juice.
So I kind of agree that he's done in December, but because they're going to sell it as the last match, and you know that they really don't want to go back on their word, especially when you promote it that hard. Yet, with what I brought up before of how the heel turn kind of just fell flat, you know, in some of their minds, Triple H and the powers that be, it's probably Cena too a little bit. Why couldn't we have just made it WrestleMania as his final match? It's the easiest way to go about it, and
that's the one thing that will not happen. I can promise you that.
I know, but what I'm saying is, making it go to January. I think if they were going to make it go to January, they would just do it to WrestleMania and just do it all. But I don't see that happening. So I think the December show is going to be it. Otherwise, he'd be on TV more than these last couple of dates, and it's made these last dates that much more important. The merch for these specific dates gone through the roof on the secondary market.
I think that's the big thing here. I think the bait and switch would be a bad look for WWE and TKO, although I know they probably don't care, but
Cena does. They would want to do what Cena wants.
Exactly right. And the man behind the last match in DC is going to have a giant issue with the fact that they marketed and promoted his last match, and then all of a sudden we're going to put you back out there in January and even into February. And I understand a lot of people would love to see him roll back into Vegas. I think John goes into the Hall of Fame with Stephanie McMahon. Maybe they do that in Saudi, but I will tell you that John is never wrestling at WrestleMania ever again. That I know. And if he goes back, and it's strong. I know it's
even
strong.
The Saudi one, even the Saudi
I was going to say, even you don't think there's a bag big enough.
It's not about the bag with John. It's not. I think I'm not going to divulge anybody that I speak to, but I can tell you that John is very well off financially, has set himself up. And if he ever does decide to have children for the rest of their lives and those children's lives, John is very good with his money. I don't believe that John Cena, it's tough because there's always that never say never in professional wrestling and sports entertainment. But I think John Cena will never wrestle at WrestleMania ever again. Will he appear? You bet your ass. Will he go into the Hall of Fame? Yes. Will he be in Saudi? Yes. I think you have a better chance of seeing The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin wrestle in Saudi than you do John Cena. Just me.
Rock Austin 4, baby.
No, I didn't say against each other. Don't throw that out there. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. All right, let's get into some of the super chats here. We got Watch Dev $4.99. I believe in Joe Hendry retiring Cena. However, Gunther is the most ideal opponent. John spoke about Joe Hendry and said, it's up to you now to make this happen. I don't see John Cena wrestling Joe Hendry in these final matches because it's no fault to Joe, but Joe Hendry has not been a focal point. I know he's on NXT, but I don't see it.
I could see an interaction.
Sure.
But that interaction probably would have happened way earlier. When
I have an idea, Jordan. Hold on. And then I want you to get to your point. John Cena says Joe Hendry in his final match and bang, he appears. That could happen. Sure.
Yeah. I could see something like that where he's mentioning out a bunch of guys, who should I face? Should I face Joe Hendry? And then, it happens. But it had to be, you're drunk. It had to be when Joe was a little bit more hotter. He's not as hot anymore. Joe Hendry's a crazy one. It would make for a good memeable moment though, for sure.
Juice, go ahead, buddy.
That moment, kind of already happened with the Randy Orton thing at Mania. Like, it's not going to get any bigger than that for that partnership with Joe Hendry specifically. And again, it's all about the timing. Like, if this was a little earlier in the year, they'd have more opportunities, more dates. But we are rapidly approaching, and we're going to knock one off and have 4 dates left, 2 being Raw and 2 PLE. Well, 1 PLE in a Saturday Night's Main Event. And the fact that he's not doing anything else, like to promote those, it's just going to be, we're going to say it and it's going to happen, is pretty wild.
I have an immense amount of respect for Joe Hendry, but I think, truthfully, it would be a waste. And I say that with all due respect because I think Joe's stock was never higher at WrestleMania when he came out and wrestled Randy Orton. And he kind of cooled down a little bit. And now you're looking at WWE's roster and you're like, John's got 5 dates. Styles is taking up one of them, which we all love. But I'm sorry, Joe. It's not going to happen right now.
I don't believe.
Let's go to Sean Garner, $2. When does AJ Lee wrestle again? Very soon, Sean. Maybe I divulge who I think. Listen, Becky Lynch is obviously somebody who AJ Lee is going to have a match with. I believe at Survivor Series, you could see a team AJ Lee versus a team Becky Lynch in a War Games match, potentially, or a singles match for the IC Championship. The IC Championship will be around. Okay, it will be around AJ Lee's waist sooner rather than later. Juice, then Jordan. Go ahead.
I agree. I think Survivor Series is the best opportunity, whether that's a 1-on-1 or a 5-on-5 in the War Games. Just because they have those types of matches, again, it leaves so many opportunities for different talent to get in there. And we haven't seen AJ Lee wrestle outside of WrestlePalooza. So, I mean, maybe one of those Raws beforehand, you load up the Madison Square Garden one, or you could run something back with that. And maybe you get the IC title match then, leads to a non-finish, leads to War Games. There's a lot you could play with there.
So,
Jordan,
when AJ Lee, is she part-timer? Because
AJ Lee's got a multi-year deal with WWE TKO.
So multi-year, because when you guys say, championship, I'm like, back of the line. She's got to kind of earn that. I feel like there needs to be more matches under her belt. So therefore, I think it would be more apropos for a War Games match. A team AJ Lee, because one, that's something that she hasn't done ever. Two, still allows her to kind of knock some of that ring rust off, because there are murmurs out there that said that maybe she ain't got it no more. And it's been a long time. And I think a War Games
Jordan,
match,
it's always funny, right? The people who have never done anything athletic in their life are telling people how to move or how to play sports. The people who have never had $1 in their bank account are managing people's wallets and businesses while they sit behind a computer screen. And it's always hysterical.
The armchair bookers, the couch bookers, the fantasy bookers. But I think it would be nice to see AJ Lee in a style of match like that. Let's get some plunder in there. A team AJ Lee, and it would also goes with her aesthetic. She was kind of she always had a group with her when she first, was around. So I think it'd be kind of cool to see some of those interactions with some of the newer women on the roster, who she hasn't interacted with.
Okay, well, stay right there, Jordan. Hold on. Stay right there. I think it's a great idea. I'm going to let you lead with this next question that was sent in by Super Chat, because it ties into what you're saying. And before you give who you believe, I'm gonna let you do this. I think it's a great idea that you proposed. I think Becky Lynch is going to say, back of the line, bitch. And here's how we get it. Here's how if you beat me, you and your team, I will give you an opportunity at the IC championship. But Jordan, before you were going to, go ahead. Sean, $2. Who would be on AJ Lee's team? So go ahead, Jordan. Who do you think should be on AJ Lee's team?
I think Rhea Ripley.
Okay.
I think
I'll throw Lyra in there, maybe.
Yeah, I think Rhea, Lyra, and then I feel like, because I'm trying to remember who she could bring back. I feel like she could possibly bring someone in, so maybe she didn't run into too many people, because I would say this would be a perfect moment for another return debut in Saraya, but I don't think that would happen.
Could you see Jade? Could you see Tiff? Could you see who?
I could see. I can see her trying to beef up, right? Because she's small, so she's going to go to Rhea. She's going to go to Jade. She's going to go to a Nia Jax maybe, but some of these people are going to turn her down, obviously, because she's healed. Or they're healed, but I think that would be the story. The story would be AJ Lee great coming into a brand new locker room, no allies, no friends, no nothing, trying to make a team, and these people saying, "Okay, you're this legend for what?"
Yeah. Why? And I could see Becky's team having Roxanne Perez on that team, because I truly believe AJ Lee's next two major feuds are Becky Lynch and then immediately into Roxanne Perez.
Yeah, I think that makes the Becky's team would be the next few people that AJ Lee would face. And I think
could we see Charlotte and Alexa in this? Maybe, who knows? Juiced, a couple people you'd want to see on AJ Lee's team. Who?
I mean, yeah, I think Rhea Ripley is like the first person I would wager she's going to ask.
Stephanie Vacour in this or no?
Maybe. Yeah. There's just so many women that are at the top that you got to have some other matches. So it is interesting. I do like Jordan's idea, though, of like she could ask some of the older ones that she's dealt with before, and hey, come on, Nia, like, don't you want to join and get some revenge on whoever maybe Becky has requested, and no, and then you go back to those old school things that they've done. I think there's a lot there.
Could Becky get an NXT talent right now? Maybe like
Becky would.
Rizzo.
Becky would have no shame in going around anywhere and being like, "Hey, do you want to be on the team?" She'd go to NXT. She'd try to get someone from TNA. She would
make good
television. Whatever she would want to do to try to screw out AJ Lee's team.
Speaking of television, let's jump into another topic. I'm gonna take over here for a couple seconds. The creative team somebody who is very much affiliated with this channel, Ibu, posted that WWE is going to shake things up. Trust him. They're going to fix it. The reports then came out that Road Dogg is going to, Jesse James is going to stay as the head creator or lead writer of SmackDown, and he's going to receive maybe a new team. For me, truthfully, I don't know what else they could do. I don't think Raw or SmackDown has been like the best television, but I also don't think it's the worst. So I think at the end of the day, like where we're at, September, October, November, even-ish, until we get through Survivor Series is always kind of a lull. And I think people make a ton of noise about nothing, especially with WWE. Now, are they the most entertaining product in existence right now? For me, no. Do their shows drag? Not really. If they're not entertaining to me, you know what I do? I go put on Monday Night Football, or I go watch a college football game, and I'll watch it later. I don't know. The complaining of like, man, this show sucks. I don't think it really sucks. I just think it's tough to write 2-3 hours of television every week. Jordan, what do you think? And then we'll go to you, Juice.
So first off, this idea that they're going to shake up, for one, infers that there's a problem to begin with. So if they,
like, Jordan, who are they going to get? The ghost of Pat Patterson?
Yeah,
like, I don't understand.
Yeah,
who's going to fix this if it's that bad?
It's not. The thing is, what people don't want to, acknowledge is that there's someone else, across the street to pay attention to. And so in these lull periods, it's like, okay, well, hey, why should I continue to pay attention in your lull period when I can be entertained over here? So now there's more of a pressure and onus in these down and these lull periods in between your major PLEs to do something. You've got to do something. And honestly, the excuses are getting very thin. Like Juice said, their women's roster is probably one of the best, or at its best has been since who knows when, right? So that being the case, there's not really an excuse to have these lackluster shows. But at the same time, on the other side of that coin, we're not getting anonymous Raw GM levels of television. We have to kind of reel it in and realize that, this is not, the world's not on fire. We're okay. Like for example, I like the injection of Roman coming back, and I think that's fine. I'm fine with that. Like
I was the one who broke. I don't say one broke, but I was the one who kind of pushed what is accurate out there, because I don't report fake news. That was a direct call from TKO. Roman was not scheduled to be back this early, but TKO, Ari Emanuel, loves the bloodline, and he loves Roman Reigns. So that's why Roman's back. And I think the problem a lot of people are seeing right now is what happens, to your point, Jordan, when we talk about Triple H. Name one main event talent that has done really well on the booking side besides Dusty. I can't name one. Vince was never a main event talent because Vince was the owner creator. Look at all the other agents that are around. Arn Anderson, Billy Kidman, Abyss. I mean, Pat Patterson, when he was alive, all of these people were very, very creative. Even Jim Cornette, Michael Hayes. These guys are not main eventers. They just knew how to captivate a crowd. And at the end of the day, Triple H, the main event scene in WWE is fantastic. For the most part, it's everything else that's kind of trash, right?
I actually disagree with you, Drew. I think that in this lull period, and to bounce off of Jordan's point where he said when there's another house down the street you could go and watch a different show, there wasn't a different show whenever we had the anonymous Raw GMs, and it wasn't, they didn't have to step it up. I think now that there's more eyes, and I know it wouldn't, regardless of viewership ratings, whatever, social media in general, everybody watching and always constantly commenting on what's going on with either WWE or AEW, you notice things more because they're elevated, because people talk about it. So if you watch a WrestlePalooza and the first match is your quote biggest match and people really didn't like it, and when in the middle of the card was the best, and you bookend it with kind of like Cody and Drew, like people didn't like it as much as maybe they had, previously. And it kind of brings me back to the WCW of it all, where the undercard was pretty damn good, but their main events just like left a lot to be desired. And you may have another good point. We're not at the Rumble yet. These are the tough times to get through, which they got to hinge on the Cena thing. That's your top. That should be your top focus. Is Cena's done in like 2 months. What is he doing?
And I'm sorry, but for the most part, I don't, people are always like, you toe the line because you don't want to be removed from press. And I don't care. Truthfully, don't care. Don't care about, I don't care about being in any sort of media room if I can't be myself. They have fumbled John Cena's last year, in my opinion. Now, I think that they could make up for it. And I think John, who has been the company guy through and through, is now kind of saying, hey, I want to do this and I want to do that. The other thing that I thought was very interesting, Jordan, that you brought up is, do you think that this, and Juice, you mentioned it too, do you think this happens if AEW's non-existent? Like I get the fact that like shake up, but Vince did this too a couple times and it went nowhere. Truthfully, it went absolutely nowhere. I give for all the wrong that Vince McMahon did, and plenty, there is a ton of it. I am not excusing any of his actions, okay? But the man created a ton of superstars and really stuck to his guns, whether right nor wrong. There's a lot of flip-flopping here with the creative team and Triple H and this back and forth. I mean, where are we at, boys? Are we enjoying WWE?
I remember that right as AEW began, so, late 2019 when they're starting to have their first Dynamites, what was WWE doing? Launching SmackDown on Fox. Eric Bischoff and Paul Heyman were head people on creative, and like they tried to switch things up. And I don't know if you guys recall, but 2019 Raw was arguably one of like the most like uninteresting, weird, like the Rusev Lashley stuff. There was so much bad going on at that point. We had the Red Hell in a Cell with Bray and Seth.
Oh yeah,
a lot of down points. Like there's always like a pressure to be at a high level, but it's almost if they like forget what got them there, and you just lead with your stars and don't try anything too crazy that you're unfamiliar with or comfortable with.
The highlight of that Hell in the Cell pay-per-view was Sean Waltman. I don't know if you guys and girls remember, but Sean Waltman was backstage doing a thing with some streamers and some other people. And he said, you'll probably never allow me back on one of these things, but how the hell do you get disqualified in a Hell in a Cell? And it was perfect. It was perfect. And I think you needed more people like that who have been at the top and made a lot of money and wrestled all over the place in the big promotions to say something like that, to shake things up. But I will say this, and I want you guys to touch on this, and then I'm going to go to Jordan and his two topics that he wants to talk about. You could tell who Triple H is firmly behind, okay? Triple H is a Cody guy, 100%, like through and through. As crazy as that sounds, Triple H is a Cody guy.
I have a theory behind that.
Otherwise, he would never put out the stuff that he is putting out. I don't ever see Triple H retweeting or commenting or anything about Roman, because it's either, and you could tell Roman does not, in my opinion, Roman does not like that it's being pitted as Roman and Cody on opposite sides, and they're not locking and they're not headbutting at all. And it's done on purpose, in my opinion, because I truly believe, I'm a big fan of Cody. Love what he does with the kids. I think he's a superstar. Roman's an attraction, and Cody right now he's kind of simmering at that. Could be an attraction, but he's definitely a superstar. But go ahead, Jordan.
So Triple H is behind Paul, and I may sound crazy here. Triple H is behind Cody so much out of spite. I'm going to do what you couldn't do. I'm going to show you what you had, and I'm going to showcase what you had, and I'm going to make it better. 1. 2, everybody knows that Vince essentially made Roman. He stuck with Roman through the big dog and all, and now we love Roman. I think that is what Cody is to Triple H. Like, hey, look, no, this was my guy. Like, because when Cody kind of came over, WWE stock rose even higher than what it already was.
And you know what's crazy about that, Jordan, is Cody is a Vince guy. Vince brought Cody back.
And that's the thing. But the perception as of right now, because Cody came back, because the perception for Cody is an AEW guy who came back, when that's not the case at all. So there's this perception, and sometimes perception warps our reality, that no, Cody's a Triple H guy. They're obviously, like you said, he's retweeting them, he's doing all this, doing all that. The bus situation, all of that, the podcast, because you mean to tell me Roman and his family shouldn't have a podcast? Anyways,
hold on a second. That's where I think the animosity lies, truthfully. I truly believe that Roman Reigns, his family, The Rock, the Anawahis, all that stuff, I think Triple H can maybe see the writing on the wall, and maybe I'm crazy, but I believe in a couple of years that Dwayne The Rock Johnson, and I said this a year ago, and Brian Gewirtz might be sitting back and running WWE on the TKO side. I truly believe that. I think there's a huge potential for that. That's why Triple H went into the Hall of Fame. Stephanie McMahon's going into the Hall of Fame. And I believe that the Anoa'i family runs professional wrestling, truthfully.
Yeah. And and that's my theory, is that if there is any strife or what, it's because Triple H is doing it a little bit out of spite. Like, hey, look, no, I'm going to book this guy way better than you could have. And we know who I'm referring to. And that's that, because otherwise it doesn't make sense. Like, you have Roman, who, like you said, is an attraction. Roman's a star without a belt right now. He hasn't touched a title in a very long time, and he is must-see TV.
Juice, you've been quiet. Go ahead, buddy.
I mean, I kind of agree with that sentiment. I've always seen that it's like kind of Triple H versus The Rock behind the scenes, because it was Triple H versus The Rock on screen for a while too. And
who won that for many, many decades?
Well, Triple H. Yeah, right.
Who's going to win now?
Well, it's also unfortunate because they can't have an on-screen match. Triple H is not a performer anymore, and The Rock doesn't wrestle either.
Who do you think would go over?
Oh, mother of God.
Today?
I don't know. if they had a match between,
come on.
Today would be a smudge, and it would be a draw. No one's going over.
Go ahead, Juice.
They'd bring out just like Mania 31. They'd bring out DX, but the Nation of Domination.
There you go.
So, but yeah, it is an interesting kind of theory of like a power struggle, and I want to lean towards you, Drew, but I don't know when that would happen. Like, when does it go to the, is there a tipping point? Is there a moment of like, is it Cody Roman 3 and then Roman goes over and it's like, all right, now this is what we're doing?
Again, not going to manage billionaires and companies' wallets, but I will say that, TKO, which we know is in debt through the purchase of numerous different things, including WWE, and they're taking the largest payout for WrestleMania in terms of a site fee and everything else from the Saudis, and they're going back to Vegas, which is smart. These are all smart things. I think when WWE TKO becomes whole in terms of they get their investment back, I think you could see a shakeup entirely, because then they're playing with house money. So we'll have to wait and see. Let's go to Angel. She has a super chat, and then we're going to get to the other trending topics, and then we're going to do a crown jewel preview, and we're going to get on out of here. Angel with $10 Canadian says, Drew, when do you think Randy will turn heel? I don't think it's going to happen. 2 reasons. Every SmackDown, it's only Cody and Randy shirts in the crowd with the same posters. I don't think Randy will get booed. Randy and Cody is long overdue. When they decide to pull the trigger on that, I don't know. What I will say is I don't think Randy needs to turn heel to have this match. It's very much like
he doesn't, but all he has to do is give the punt to Cody, which he's
give an RKO
to everybody. Yeah, but the punt has been really.
What would be his motivation to turn heel?
I think
jealousy of winning the title.
I think Cody and Randy's team will end up because I do believe they'll be on the same team for War Games. I do believe that depending on who is on the opposite side, which I believe will be the Vision and Brock Lesnar, let's just say, I believe that there'll be some animosity there. And I think, again, Saudi Arabia's got the Rumble. You could keep Randy out of the Rumble and have him take on Cody for the WWE Championship at the Rumble. And it keeps them, it's just a big match for the Rumble. So, I mean, that's something you could do. Maybe there's a little bit of turmoil at the War Games match. I don't know. Randy and Cody should happen. Whether it happens at the Rumble or WrestleMania, who knows? I'm still going to go, Angel, with Randy Orton not facing Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. I think it's Randy and somebody else. I think it's Cody and let's see. I'll say Cody Punk, and I will go Seth Roman at WrestleMania. Jordan, what do you think about Randy Orton?
I don't think he should turn heel anytime soon. I think he's his face run right now, especially at this part of his career. I will say though, Cody Randy needs to happen. I think a face versus face dynamic in this situation, a mentor, because there's a lot of footage that they have for those two, a lot of footage. I think the first initial match should be face versus face, and then, like Juice said, maybe Cody bests him, gives him the punt after the match. You know, yeah. and then that leads us into something. You know, you can write off Cody for a couple of weeks in doing that. You know,
yeah, I think Roman wins the Rumble and he takes on Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. And again, the punt thing with Cody.
Got Brock winning the Rumble. That's funny.
You got who?
Brock
Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar.
Oh, Christ.
No, Bowers.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, Brock Lesnar.
I have Sami Zayn winning the Rumble.
I think they're crazy enough to pull it off and do that.
Well, I mean, the Saudis are not going to boo Brock Lesnar. So
exactly,
that's interesting.
Like, they're not going to boo Brock Lesnar. No, you know, it's going to Brock Lesnar Cody is a match that also has to happen.
Yeah.
So I see that I got Brock winning the Rumble. If you ask me, especially in Saudi.
I prefer him.
That's the best place to do it.
I'd prefer him to not win the Rumble and have one of the chamber matches actually be for the title and have Lesnar be in the chamber. I think that would be more exciting, but I don't know. I mean, you're right though with this. They don't care who wins the Rumble. Anybody can win the Rumble in Saudi. They'll be like, all right.
The thing is with Brock, and I think they've learned since we're on the subject, you have to be careful in which of how you make his moment. And
you think Brock Cody happens?
It has to. For one, it's a match.
They've already done it though.
Not with the title.
Not with the title.
Okay.
I think I just think it's a matchup because otherwise, why is Brock?
Who wins, Jordan?
Oh, we know who wins.
Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania?
Absolutely. They're going
then we get Roman Brock again.
Oh, man.
And so we could get I think
send your hate mail to @Jordan.
No, I just think that's a way for Brock with the title is a moneymaker. As much as people don't want to, it makes money. Every time he has a title, it makes money. Mm-hmm. And as of right now, this is a company who has shown they're not going to do what makes sense. They're going to do what makes sense.
Yeah, I hear you.
So
I think it doesn't make dollars. It doesn't make sense.
I think the only way Brock is WWE champion, because I don't see him winning the other title, would be if Cody were to be hurt for some reason. I don't see Cody taking on, like, I see him going against Randy or Punk. But Brock,
Cody Punk match has to happen. And go ahead.
I think Brock is more set up for a Braun Breaker or a Gunther or an Obafemi, like a huge attraction match. And maybe you get that Lesnar title win or match at his hometown SummerSlam.
Yeah. I'm going to say this. I think Brock Lesnar is not winning the Rumble. I think Brock Lesnar is taking on and I don't hate the idea, Jordan. I see what you're talking about in terms of box office and appeal and everything else like that. I think Brock Lesnar takes on Gunther at WrestleMania. I think we get Cody and Punk for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania. And to Blake Mitchmore's point, I don't think WWE TKO is booking anything to like they're not doing things like keeping a champion or whatever as an FU to AEW. But I will tell you this, booking CM Punk and Cody Rhodes for a WrestleMania main event is a giant middle finger TK and AEW. And I think that does happen. And again, Cody and Punk has to happen. And I think Seth and Roman for the World Heavyweight Championship would be a big money match in Vegas for a championship that Roman has never held.
It's only been around for like 2 years. So, I mean, sure.
I mean, he is Roman's done everything. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I don't think it's more of a FU to AEW, but more so a
look what we can do.
Yeah, look what I can do. You know, it's not because I think they're past the it's just look what I can do. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. Boys and girls, stay tuned to the end of this stream as I have some news on the Hardys that I think you'll want to hear. All right, Jordan, what are the trending topics that you want to talk about before we get into our Crown Jewel predictions, which airs here in the United States on ESPN? Make sure you do whatever you got to do to upgrade your package or whatever. 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, 7 a.m. Central, not p.m. You'd miss it.
It's going to be 7 a.m. for you, Drew. That's going to be.
That's right. I got kids. I got kids, brother. I'm up.
Well, so I don't know if you guys saw, or, you know, obviously, Andrew, you did, but the correct numbers came out for All In Texas. And kind of like I people are using this as a grandstand dunking moment of, oh, it's not this number, it was actually this number. Ha 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 ha. I'll go ahead and tell you guys, tell the rest of Purist fans out there, I am not a numbers guy. I do not enjoy based on an arbitrary number that doesn't mean anything to me. If I watch, I watch. If I don't watch, I don't watch. If I show up, I show up. If I don't show up, I don't show up. The amount of seats, you know, and tickets doesn't matter to me. But that being said, you know, We the Ones just said it's 23,000 is a huge success. I think anything. I always say this. Do you know 100 people that would pick up a phone call right now? Do you know 15 people that would pick up a phone call right now? So imagine being able to call 23,000 people in a row and they all pick up the phone.
We got to give them a reason to. And AEW did. What I will say about this, Jordan, to your question about all the things that were trending and all the business experts who, again, some of them, you know what? I'll give credit where credit is due. There's a small minority who probably can run a successful business and probably have some dollars and cents in their bank accounts. But for the most part, a lot of these people are talking straight out their ass. And you should leave the business to the billionaires, and you should leave the professional wrestling business and sports entertainment business to the professional wrestling and sports entertainment performers and people who are in the business. What I will say about this is the comment that absolutely threw me off the edge and I was rolling on the floor laughing was the fact that I was there. There was more than 23,000 people in there. Listen,
100%.
I'm the attendance is the attendance. What they're saying was the scanned amount is the scanned amount. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I was there too. I was on the floor. Okay. I was right there. So I was next to Juice. I mean, like I couldn't sit there and tell you. I could estimate, but I can't tell you for a fact that there was over 23,000 people in there. I'm not going to do it. AEW is not refuting the numbers. Neither is TK. At the end of the day, did this diminish what you saw in Texas? The event, is this stopping you from enjoying it? What they presented? No. I understand why WrestleNomics put this out. It's part of their whole shtick. It's what they do. I get that. There's no heat, or I'm not angry at them for doing this. What is hysterical is the fact that the fan base wants to, the other fan base wants to rally around this as a victory. These people don't have two friggin' nickels to rub together, but they're more concerned about attendance numbers or buy rates or everything else like that. For me, it's asinine. All In Texas was a success. I had a blast. There was a lot of people there. I have no idea if another company, not named WCW, I'm going to say this. I do have an idea. I don't believe it, that would draw 23,000, 21,000 people in the United States of America. What other company is doing this? Why are people so fixated on other people and wallet? I don't get it. Like, just the other thing too is like the $1 million thing. That's an insurance policy, you morons.
Yeah.
It has nothing, like AEW like made money off this show, we believe. But that's the other thing. You're arguing with people and we have no idea what the financials are. They're not reported. They could be so far in the red or so far in the green. We have no idea. I'm not going to curse on WrestlePierce, not yet. We have no idea. Stop arguing about whether or not they're profitable or whether or not this made money. We don't know their overhead. Juice, God.
More importantly, why does it matter to those people? I think it's not even a rallying cry. It's people that don't like AEW for any reason. It could be anything. It could be that they chose, CM Punk side, or they just are WWE fans, or they don't like Tony Khan. Any reason that they don't like AEW, they will do anything in their power to take any sort of perceived negative comment or report and, go crazy with it. And
there was a couple other things in this report, Juice, and I want you to touch on this as well.
Sure.
They talked about how an NDA was presented.
That's what I was going to bring up. Is like that seems to be a point of contention.
But how do we know that Vince and WWE didn't do this before? We have no idea. And even if they did,
why does it matter?
Right. That's the other thing. Okay, so they wanted to keep things quiet. Tony did say at the press conference, the media scrum, that he believed there was over 29,000 people there. And everyone's dogging on that. We have inflated wrestling attendance since the 70s. And now all of a sudden it's a problem. Now,
as a matter of fact,
I
think the attendance at all in Texas was 93,173.
Right. Who cares? I will say, though, that there is parts of the AEW fan base that Tony riles up, and so do the other people in AEW, because they brought up the whole WrestleMania 3 attendance. So they brought this upon themselves as well, because they said that's not the exact number. We broke the all-time attendance record, blah, 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 blah. So sometimes you reap what you sow. They shouldn't have done this with the demo and all that other bullshit in the ratings, because now NXT's beating them, and they shouldn't have done this because you shouldn't have done that. That's what happens. So
I think that's what you do when you're growing up. They're 6 years old.
Yeah.
You make mistakes.
Sure.
I at 6 years old am not the same person now as I am today. I don't talk the same. I don't think the same. But on the notion of people caring, it's so funny because us three, we were all there. Mm-hmm. We were all there. As a matter of fact, I'll tell people a funny story. I was there extra early, and you, Andrew, even joked and said, "Why are you there so early?" And I say that to say, being there that early, I saw the massive amounts of people there.
Yeah, and I had people in my comments and DMs being like, they didn't scan my ticket. I saw 100 people knock. Shut up. So you sat back and watched 100 people fly by you, and they were just like, yeah, go ahead.
Do you ever hear people making up those types of stories with a WWE show? No,
but who cares?
No one cares enough to do it.
Listen, the show is a success. I don't care how you want to downplay this. It was a success. If this is your way of flying the WWE victory flag, by all means. I never understand the ratings discourse, because you're not an investor. You're not a media rights buyer. You're not an ad buyer. I'll never understand why we need to constantly check and constantly do this and do that, because it serves as a win. Why are you guys who are just WWE loyalists?
It's not a win. There's no one's counting. No one's tallying any of this stuff up. If you like the show, you like the show. If you didn't like it, you didn't like it.
You didn't like it. It's
the show was long. There you go. That Blake said it too. The show was long. That's what I'll say. It was too damn long. But I had a lot of fun. I had fun.
It was long. The show was long. That's all you could say. And what's really funny in particular, though, is a lot of people will complain, who do the complaining about attendance, don't attend shows themselves.
Sure. Here's the thing from Han, and you're right, Jordan. Hannibal says, scan them as an odd thing anyway. Not every ticket gets scanned, especially suites, VIPs, accessible entries. It's a weird flex. All right, listen, I work in the ticketing industry. I get scan reports from venues every single day.
First name ticket, last name Drew.
They do scan majority of the tickets. There might be a situation where a ticket doesn't scan, or you have a credential like this. don't know if I can get this off. There we go. You have a credential like this, and they say, go ahead. There's a green dot. That means you have media access in terms of the press room and everything else like that. That's what the dot was for.
And that counts as people.
But they're not scanned. That's so
right.
My name will not pop up on a scan report because I did not have a ticket. I had a credential. So if you want to count the media people, the ushers, the ticket takers, whatever. But I will have to say, if they said 21,000 scanned, that's probably what was scanned. And that's probably the attendance. They're not letting people in for free. Okay. I could have a ticket. Drew is allowing me into the building. They're not going to be like, oh, okay, go right ahead. Even suites are scanned. All right. So I'm just saying, this slippery slope that people want to die on, who gives a shit? It was a success. It was. Go look at the numbers. Go look at the gate. Go look at the buys. And go look at, it was trending. It was talked about. WWE had a show that night, and everyone talked about how Goldberg's retirement was cut short. I was with Juice and Jordan at the bar with West Side Gun, and they were saying the same shit.
They said the same thing.
So, I mean, like, who gives a shit? Seriously. And I know I amplified it and talked about it, but who cares? Like, seriously, this bothers you guys so much.
It's just another way they want to grandstand and fake act like they care. Because the thing is, it's like, oh, well, I care about the business. They should be doing better. Okay, well, then this isn't how we make them better. You know, you don't kick somebody when, like this. You don't cut them short at their success. Because to go on and they produce and put on one of the best shows of the year and say, well, oh, it's not good because of the ticket sales, you're cutting someone at their success. And I think that's just very disingenuous.
Agreed. Juice, Jordan, you had a good time at All In. I know I did. I had a great time afterwards, too, at the bars we went to and hung out and chopped it up. Maybe a little bit too much for me. But, listen, I don't get the discourse. What else you got, Jordan?
So it's because that kind of parlayed, how this conversation into time. The next thing I wanted to bring up, and that was Mr. Santos Escobar at the midnight hour deciding to stay or return, however you want to describe it, to WWE. But the point that I wanted to make, I made a particular tweet that made a little bit of the rounds, not a lot, but he got his bag simply because AEW exists.
Okay.
Regardless of whether they had conversations and he decided, no, I'm going to stay with WWE, regardless, the mere idea of I can go elsewhere gave him a bargaining chip that is insurmountable. Like, it's something that hasn't been seen in wrestling in 20 some odd years. The ability to say, well, I'm going to see what that other offer is like. And so I'm happy for Santos because it sounds like he was able to not hold out to get what he wanted. And two, I think this is a good mark on the business. I think you should want, because Andrade earlier, we also knew came back to AEW. And again, so this idea of the alternative is a overall net positive for the business, whether you are a WWE fan or an AEW fan, because if you're a WWE fan, the onus is now on the company to pay these people and give them the creative that they want, right? And if you're an AEW fan and you always wanted somebody to hop ship, you have that opportunity now. And if you're, and vice versa, if you think someone will suit better, I think Ricky Starks is a guy who now Ricky Saints suits better on the other side of the street. We wouldn't see him get to prosper in his career without it.
All right. Juice, I'm going to let you take the majority of the floor on this one in terms of what you think and how you perceive this. I could tell you this though. Okay. WWE TKO is making a absolute effort in numerous different ways to minimize All Elite Wrestling. One of them is essentially they're going to try and counter program majority of AEW's pay-per-views, any opportunity they can. The other is they are going to try and not only keep the talent that sees themselves becoming free agents like a Santos Escobar, they're also going to be offering big money contracts to those who are going to be free agents of the All Elite Wrestling variety. They are not at war with All Elite Wrestling in terms of signing talent or keeping talent. There's a different type of war going on, which we all could see. But Juice, what do you make of this? I just think this is a preventative measure, and WWE maybe ponied up a couple extra $100,000 to keep Santos from showing up in Jacksonville.
So, in addition to what Jordan said, I responded to, I think, like an Ebu tweet, or someone had posted something about Santos, and I said the fact that AEW exists is better for everybody involved. Like, that is clearly the result of just competition being out there. Like, maybe he will go to AEW. That's all it takes. And we've talked about it 1,000 times, Drew, of like just having a competitor, whether WWE wants to acknowledge them or not, is better for everybody involved. How many more jobs behind the scenes, on screen, higher ups, all these different things that happen because another wrestling organization exists. And to piggyback off of a comment I saw earlier where someone said like WWE fans love to cope with like a coping mechanism is the ratings. Go back to WCW. They were not happy that WCW kicked their ass for 83 straight weeks and would do anything they could to bury them. And now WCW is looked at in a negative light because they lost the war.
Juice, so, I think you made a great point. You brought up a great point here. Why do people hate AEW or WWE so much when there's multiple hundreds, thousands of people, maybe on the WWE variety, I would say hundreds in AEW, employed? Why do it's creating jobs for people? Why do people hate people who are trying to
get jobs in pro wrestling?
Right. Is it because you're not there?
Yes, it's jealousy and yeah. and Conrad brought it up before. No one hates pro wrestling more than pro wrestling fans. I sat knowing that there was WrestlePalooza and All Out on the same day. First, I was going to be at the same time, and I'm like, oh, I cannot wait to have two monitors up. How could you not love that? And then they moved the time up, so I get from 3 p.m. to like 11 of just wrestling. Why would anyone that actually likes pro wrestling not enjoy the opportunity to watch that? If you don't like one, you could just not watch it. That seems pretty simple to me, but people have a tough time.
The crazy thing about that, Juice, is that even if you don't like AEW, there's still so much other wrestling out there that you can still find something to watch, you know? So it's very weird.
And even if you don't like AEW, or let's say you don't like WWE, but you really loved Ricky Starks, wouldn't you want to go and watch what he's doing in another company? Wouldn't you want to see some of your favorites go and be successful somewhere else, regardless of where they are? Like if you're a Jade Cargill fan and she was killing it in AEW, she goes to WWE and now she's really doing a lot. How could you not love that for the people?
Growing up, I was a big Steve Nash guy. Obviously, living here in Dallas. The moment he went to Phoenix, I still followed him. You know what I mean?
Same with Kevin Nash.
Listen, I don't mind the critique of professional wrestling and sports entertainment. I don't mind it because it's done in professional sports. The only difference is wins and losses matter in professional sports, and professional wrestling is fixed, which is fine.
What?
Right. So you can disagree with the creative direction, but to sit back and say it sucks or this or that and whatever else and not give any constructive criticism is just garbage.
I'm a Cowboys fan who watched Micah Parsons just go to my rival.
Right.
You know, I don't then think Micah Parsons is not good anymore.
Right. Well, the big thing is like when somebody goes and plays for the Yankees, it's like, oh man, he sucked before this, but when the Yankees fans get him up, homeboy's legit. Best.
Yeah. He shaved that beard and now he's great. Yeah.
and that is the same thing. It's very strange. Like I'm with you guys. Ricky Saints would have done nothing in AEW, it seems, and now he's getting a fresh coat of paint in WWE and NXT, and I'm happy to see him thrive and be successful. Look at Ethan Page. I mean, look at Danielson. Look at
Cody. Any of these guys.
Yeah,
so I wonder what this new creative drive will be for Escobar. because because he got it was said that there's going to be a new creative drive for him, and I have to believe that is because AEW exists.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that Tony had a book out for him and knew what his booking would be, but we know who he's related to and whatnot, so it was probably pretty easy to put the pieces together of what could have happened. And so I'm willing to bet they say, oh, no. Not only will we give you $1 more, I'm just saying, but we'll also do something more creative with you. Those incentives now happen because of the existence of competition.
I mean, how could you not love what we've been seeing with Andrade? Taking advantage of whatever opportunity opens up for him. And, now he gets to probably do the Continental Classic and stuff like that. Santos Escobar, 1 or 2 years ago, I picked as a, dark horse for the Final Four of the Royal Rumble. He had a high stock, pretty recently. So I see now maybe they'll give him that chance again.
I'm willing to bet he will be a focus come 2026.
I mean, I've hoped that Santos Escobar should have been a Intercontinental United States champion by now. I don't see it happening. I think they're going to look at Santos, and hopefully all the talent in the world would have thrived in AEW. I believe it would have done him.
Do we know how much he signed for? Like how long?
No idea. I have no idea. What I will say is that WWE is going to do whatever they can to recoup that investment. No doubt about it, whether it's merch or everything else like that. I just think Santos would have benefited from a change, just like Drew McIntyre did when he left WWE, just like we've seen with Moxley. Although now, I'm starting to wonder what the deal is with John. The AEW needs to find some new creative for John Moxley, because I thought the ending of Dynamite was rotten, truthfully. Darby and the Malakoff cocktail. Again, I just thought the ending was rotten.
Okay.
I thought you were a shill, Drew. You're not allowed to say anything negative
I was about to say,
AEW.
Hold on.
Listen, John Moxley versus Ishii. Immense amount of respect for both men, but we need to find something for John Moxley to do post his AEW World Heavyweight Championship run. The Darby stuff, I'm fine with. I get it.
And the pay-per-view match will no doubt be great, but
Santos Escobar did not get a tour bus. If that happened, no, and I'm Juice, to your point. I'm all for the Darby stuff. We're going to be 2 to 3 months into this now. At this point, we need to put the nail in the coffin and be done with Darby and John Moxley. And if John and Darby are never going to be done, fine, let's take a little bit of time apart from each other and let's have John focus on something else. Why can't, and I know someone's going to say, well, Okada and Takeshita are going to feud. Fine. Get that out of the way. Give me Moxley and Okada. Give me Moxley and Takeshita. John, this whole John needs to just be over here. No, Moxley needs to do something new, in my opinion. Super new.
Do you think him taking a little bit of time off and coming back for a refresh would help?
Sure. Let him and Renee go have some fun.
I think for Moxley, since we're on that, I think the newest thing for Moxley I could see him doing would be maybe he attacks a Big Bill and whatnot. I can see him doing a program with Bill. I can see something just lower on the card to then thus write him off, or he can ride off in the sunset. I don't want him or need him near the top of the card right now. But again, need new fresh matchups. So
agreed.
Maybe a Brody King. I could see him and Cope doing one more thing again.
Moxley and Cope works. I need Cope and Omega before Cope heads wherever he wants to head and leaves AEW. If he does, we need some things to happen. Kenny Omega needs to be back in the world title picture imminently as well. Dev with $1.99. Does DMD have a successful road to Mania ahead of her? A lot of people came at my neck when I said, whatever Britt does in her future, this was months ago, I wish her the best. And people were like, she's going to show back up in AEW. Well, she hasn't, and I don't think she will. I don't know this to be facts. And nobody has told me this, because even if they did, I would never say it, but nobody has told me this. I don't believe that Britt Baker is going to be seen on AEW television anytime soon. I'm just gathering what I can gather, and I just don't see it. So
I also don't think, and we brought this up, she really doesn't need pro wrestling. So like, if there's nothing for her, she's perfectly fine living her life, legitimately being a dentist. So, whatever the next opportunity presents itself to her, wherever that is, I think she'll take her time and she'll make that decision when that needs to happen. So people, fantasy booking and will she be at the Rumble and all these things, it's going to be up to her.
Who knows? I mean, I think you have a better the odds on for Jericho to land in WWE right now in the next 4 months than you do Britt Baker. Go ahead, Jordan.
For sure.
One, counted here, DraftKings. Jericho is going to WWE. Okay. You can say that I said that. I for sure think that. Two, Britt, we said this privately. If she doesn't show up in Pittsburgh, she's probably not going to at all. And she didn't show up in Pittsburgh.
I was there. She was not.
So, I, like you said, Juice, I don't know if, for one, we always have to wonder if wrestling is what they want to do. And I can't comment on these people's personal lives. So I don't know, because she seems very content and happy with her lot in life. And I'm glad, and congratulations to her. But I will be honest. The DMD is in WWE has a very nice ring to it.
For sure.
The thing with that, though, Jordan, is WWE is going to say you're either all in, no pun intended, or we're not, we're good with you. And to Juice's point, and I've said it a million times, Britt Baker does not need wrestling.
She doesn't. And I do see that WWE requiring, hey, we need 100% of your attention. So what, honestly,
how lucrative is dentistry? Go look at some of the wrestling fans' teeth.
Yeah.
He said, I know. Yeah, that's all you got to do.
What? I got to get a root canal myself, man. Dentistry is not cheap. I do think, though, if anything, when it comes to Britt's wrestling future, if she doesn't end up in WWE, I think she chills out for a moment and then comes back to AEW. I think her and Tony have a pretty decent relationship. Decent enough for her to say, hey, let me go do my thing really quick, whatever, step away, because we all know the rumors about her personal life and we're not going to comment on that. So I can see her stepping away and then re-signing a different contract, something of the sorts. I can see that.
Yeah, time will tell. All right, let's get into our crown jewel predictions and let's get off the air. We got about 5 to 10 minutes here. Unless people want to flood us with super chats. It's been a good day for super chats. If you want to send them in. We'll read them. That's the only way you get a question answered here on the Wrestle Purist channel. Again, that's Juice Springsteen. That is Jordan. We will be live. Myself and Jordan will be live every Tuesday on this channel at 2:30 p.m. Eastern time, 2:30 in the afternoon, coming at you. And myself and Juice are bringing Drew and Juice to Wrestle Purist Thursdays in this time slot right now at 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. You're going to get all of the Drew, whether you want me or not, on this channel. So, all right, Juice, why don't you run down the card? Crown Jewel.
All right.
Saturday morning.
I know. 5 matches, the Triple H special, PLE special. And we, there's one, that's the one match card for me. I think the best match potentially on this that'll likely end up being the best match is the Cena AJ Styles match.
100%.
But there's some other good stuff. We had speculated that maybe they weren't going to do the Crown Jewel championships, but they are. And that's what we're going to get. So do you want to just run down each match and I'll pass?
Well, Juice, I have a question for you and Jordan. Where would you put Cena and Styles? I have it main event.
Yeah, it's got a main event.
I agree. But like you said, Cena can be like, yeah, well, let's put me in the middle. He can say whatever, and they'll be like, all right, they'll acquiesce to Cena.
If it's not opening the show, it's closing the show.
I think John's couple matches that he's had have been absolutely lights out good. So I think that this match with Styles is going to fall right in there. AJ, I know it's a really old term, but AJ could have a good match with a broomstick. I think this match is going to over deliver. But you both say main event?
Yeah.
That's where I'd like it to be. Yeah.
All right. Go ahead, Juice. Run down the card and we'll get some predictions.
Let's start off with the recently added Australian street fight, Roman Reigns, Bronson Reed. This is a match where I would assume Bronson Reed should win. It's a match that, Roman Reigns can get a lot of things can happen where Roman doesn't have to lose clean. And even though this is taking place in Australia, and normally this is where Bronson Reed would lose because that's what WWE loves to do, I think he's going to win this match. What do you guys think?
Jordan, go ahead.
I think Roman's going to win just simply for the return and how they he hasn't really got his comeuppance for the shoe thing. Bronson's made it a whole gimmick. And there will be a shoe drinking spot because Australians are known for that. And this whole feud has been over stealing shoes. So I can see a shoe drinking spot. That's my prediction. But I see Roman coming out on top. I see him taking Bronson's boots off of his feet type of deal, putting him around his shoulders and ultimately getting his comeuppance, because if it is, like you said, or not, it's indeed true that TKO brought in Roman early, I think they're going to send him out early as well. So let's get him his wins. Let's not BS. Let's, and get him out again.
All right.
Does this open the show?
100%.
Yes, I would agree. If it doesn't open, I think it middles, truthfully.
Curtain jerker Roman Reigns.
Well, Roman probably wants to get the hell out of there. If you saw his interview on Pat McAfee, Roman is pretty tired and pretty beat up. Here's the thing. Here's the deal. Bronson Reed is going over. And I say this with complete confidence because I believe they are adding a member to the Vision. I believe I'm gonna name two people who I believe they could add. I'm gonna throw a wild card in there as well, so we'll get three. But I'm gonna say that Bronson Reed gets the victory due to some outside interference, not by Braun Breaker, maybe, but not. That's not going to be the catalyst. I think you're looking at Ilya Dragunov or maybe Tony D'Angelo as a member of the Visionary, and I think they will cost Roman Reigns this match. And what it does for both men, if it happens, it elevates them. I could also see somebody who's not really doing anything right now. A lot of people are thinking that he's leaving. Austin Theory.
That's great theory, Drew.
There it is. So I do believe that Bronson Reed will get the victory. And I threw that out there, and you guys and girls can do what you want with it. But that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at.
I can see Austin Theory coming.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know how many more people they need to add to the Vision, to be honest with you.
Well, I mean, look at the Don Callis family.
Yeah, Omega factions are back.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
All right, let's do tag team action. Rhea Ripley, Io Sky takes on Asuka, Kairi Sane, the Kabuki Warriors. This has been very personal, and I just think that it's setting up for Rhea and Io to get the big win over the Kabuki Warriors. Drew, I'll start with you. How do you see this one turning out?
I'm going to go with Rhea and her squad. Rhea's kind of like been simmering, and they've kind of pulled her away from Vakor, which I get, because if Rhea and Vakor have a match, it seems like you just got to put Rhea over. So I could see why this is happening. I'm going to go with Rhea and Io Sky. Asuka and Miss Sane don't necessarily need a victory here. Neither does Rhea, but I just think the more times you beat Rhea, the more times the fans are going to start to really sit back and be like, all right. And correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Rhea just win the Royal Rumble how many years ago? Was it last year, 2 years ago? When was it?
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. Because Charlotte won it last year. And a lot of people are saying, well, they're going to cool her off to have her win the Rumble this year. I don't see it. So I think Rhea needs to.
She doesn't need a third Rumble win.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That was my next point. I think Rhea and Io Sky take the victory here.
So you've got both Australians actually winning, which is pretty not normal for WWE.
Well, I think this. I think I got Rhea winning. They're going to give her that hometown or home feel. It's just the writing's been on the wall these past couple shows. Getting missed and whatnot, so I think they get their comeuppance on Saturday.
Let's talk about the Crown Jewel Championship, the very coveted Crown Jewel Championship, and the ring.
I can get one of my football rings here.
Is it a Battle Bowl ring?
No, it's not a Battle Bowl ring. That's a championship ring. Go ahead.
Nice.
I don't know if I can get it off now, but go ahead.
Stephanie Vaquer takes on Tiffany Stratton, Raw Women's Champion versus SmackDown Women's Champion. I don't hate this idea. In fact, I like this idea outside of whenever they used to do it for Survivor Series and they made that the whole Survivor Series thing. Like, I'd much rather have them do a War Games or something else for that particular show. So I like the champion versus champion feel here. Jordan, I'll send it to you. To me, I think Stephanie Vaquer should roll on through and win this match. What say you?
So I got Stephanie should win, but she won't.
That's why Jordan's smart.
I think Tiffy comes and there's some shenanigans that are going to happen. Because Stephanie Vaquer, I don't think she wins. She should win. It'll be a great match, but she will end up losing. Yeah. So
I am looking forward to the actual match because this is a unique matchup between the two. To be honest with you,
the matchup itself will be a fun match to watch.
Yeah. No, I mean, my daughter, not because Tiffany's from here in Minnesota, but my daughter's a big fan of Tiffany Stratton. And she's not really into wrestling, which means Tiffany has a lot of crossover appeal. My daughter is very much into gymnastics and girl stuff. And when she comes on the screen, because me and my sons watch it, she's like, love Tiffany, love Tiffy time. And she'll even say Tiffy time. Yeah. I think with the whole ring thing, I think it's interesting. Vaquer's character, it doesn't do much. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, it doesn't matter. It does. It does. So Vaquer is going to be pushed to the moon, and she already is. And I think the push will continue. But Tiffany holding the Money in the Bank did wonders for her. And I think her holding this ring, having a ring, just fits the character to a T. I'm going with Tiffany Stratton.
I think you kind of make a good point there. However, has Cody or who else won the ring? Have they Liv Morgan? Did they wear the ring more than the night that they won?
They had the giant belt. And then the ring
was massive.
Yeah. And they took the pictures with them. Yeah, you're a good point. They didn't wear them outside of.
And now they've kind of made them a thing now.
Well, because the show's coming up.
Right, but I think that this could be something where Tiffany just wears. The same thing with Seth Rollins. I'm going to jump to that one too. I think Seth and Tiffany making these things, the rings, a big deal. A lot of people were making fun of the Ulafala, and then they were making fun of the bracelet for Punk. WWE does a good job of making like secondary things meaningful, even third and fourth things meaningful. And I think this is a way to make the rings meaningful. Seth Rollins could walk around and just be like, ha ha ha, like look at the bling, all this other stuff. Like it fits his character. And Tiffany having that while potentially dropping that women's championship eventually, I think could still keep her right here at the tippy top. You like that?
How long you been waiting to do that one, Drew?
Just listen. There's a lot of glare coming off that dome of mine, but there's some brains up here.
A lot of glare, no hair.
A lot of glare, no hair.
No, I got Seth going over as well. Honestly, I think both because the way you're putting it, for their character aesthetics, it's perfect. Especially Seth, probably more so Seth.
Yeah,
it matches their character perfectly to a T. I got Seth.
I also have Seth. I think that, I mean, again, if the ring is going to be such a huge point of contention for the future, then sure, Seth and Tiffany make the most sense. I also think this is an easy way for Seth to get a win over Cody Rhodes and Cody not lose anything.
Finally, right? Isn't he 0-3?
Right.
All right.
So yes, and I think that's ultimately why it happens is so Seth can get that win over Cody. Cody doesn't have to drop any title. Cody's stock doesn't drop, nothing like that. It's just,
and here's the deal. The interference of the new member of the Vision might not be during the Bronson Reed Roman Reigns match. Maybe it just is Braun Breaker who screws Roman, and then we get a Braun Breaker Roman Reigns match. But I do believe you're getting a new member of the Vision, either in the Seth Rollins Cody Rhodes match or in the Bronson Reed Roman Reigns match. So there you go.
Yeah. And so, Seth gets that win over Cody. Cody doesn't have to lose a title for that to happen. And Cody was the Crown Jewel champion last year. Does he really need to retain it? No. So
no.
Let's talk about the main event, shall we, Juice?
Right. Hopefully it is the main event. Hopefully it's the last match. Either way, man, of all the feuds John Cena's had through his career, I think his AJ Styles feud was probably his last great true feud, 2016, 2017. Some of the best matches Cena's ever had. And I still think even in 2025, they're going to have one hell of a match. So I think Cena wins here, but go ahead, Drew. I'm going to pass it to you first.
I saw 2 matches live. I saw their SummerSlam match and I saw their Royal Rumble match in San Antonio. And I could tell you that John Cena, I think I was at John's 16 and 17, his championship victories. The matches were incredible. Absolutely incredible. And I'm very much looking forward to this. I'm not a match mark. But for me,
I know you love the Iron Man 60-minute match.
Yeah, it's a great match, brother.
WrestleMania 12.
For me, John and AJ, John and Copeland, John and Randy, and I'll even say, a lot of, John and Punk. I mean but this needed to happen. I'm so glad it's happening. Whether it was planned or not planned, I don't give a shit. It's just happening, right? So let's be thankful for that. And this is another time where a lot of people are up in arms and, we forced this. You probably didn't. Who cares? You're getting the match. Enjoy it. This is it. And I'm very much looking forward to it. Jordan?
I think, so again, Father Time has been kind of one of the themes of today. Because AJ Styles is also a man who his time is coming as well. So that being said, I think they are going to give each other their best possible match they can.
Yeah.
AJ Styles.
I think Styles wins this one.
I'd love to see that. I don't know if it'll happen, but I'd love to see it because Cena doesn't care.
I think it. I'm not going to lie to you. I think it happens because I think what happens is because Drew, you kind of hinted towards this. I think Cena loses every single match up until his last one.
I think it's a way to book it, Jordan. I think, and that could really save face where, man, John didn't do anything on his way out. I can't believe he won. It's
what do you mean? He put over whom? He put over whom? He put over whom?
And with a lack of dates to be able to tell stories, the story could be him losing, which was the impetus to him losing to Solo back at Crown Jewel.
Triple H, BOWG, whomever if you watch this, you could take it. It's free. And you know what?
Honestly,
maybe you already had that in the chamber. I don't know.
Kayfabe wise, Styles needs to win more than John Cena right now.
Great point. Has he done anything the past 4 to 5 months besides feud with Dominic?
Not really. And even then, that was a weird, like, imposter kind of thing, mentor thing. I don't know what they were kind of going with that. But I think AJ would, because he could then use that to which I think he should be, which is Seth Rollins' next challenger somewhere along the way. Personally, that's what I think that's a matchup that I think everybody's dying to see. And a win against John Cena on his way out, I think would do very well for AJ. So I got AJ winning. I think they give each other their best possible match. I think this is going to be a barn burner of a match. And I think I got AJ going over.
John loses to Styles, Gunther, and Oba.
And Oba. Oh, that would be perfect.
And then beats Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship, puts it up, shakes Dom's hand, lays the belt out on the ground, on the mat, high fives it or whatever, smacks it, walks out, shake hands, kiss babies, good night, John Cena.
And you never see him again. And that would be great.
And he has won every major championship. He won 17. That's I'm just saying. If it doesn't happen,
the GOAT.
But he already is. But I'm just saying it would make him the absolute. You're 100% right. But if it doesn't happen, you will not catch me screaming into this microphone or this camera saying they dropped the ball and I can't believe it. And they should listen to me and they should hire me because at the end of the day, are you not entertained? All right, then. Juice, send us home, buddy. Where can everyone like, subscribe, and follow you?
At Juicy Steen on Twitter, formerly known as X in my circles. But yeah, you can also listen to the Juice Box every week wherever you listen to podcasts.
What is Circles?
I
know, Juice. I know. Jordan Carter.
What's
formerly Slick.
Yes. You guys.
Nobody can dox you now, my man.
No. Yeah, I'm here. face reveal and all. Nothing to dox.
Which is a weird phenomenon.
You guys can find me. I just recently changed my Twitter ad to make it easier. You can find me at slick_flair91 on X. Also, I am one of the head creatives of the Wrestle Collective podcast, which we have our show later today, 5:30 Eastern. Central, 5:30 Central. So please check us out. And you can follow us at WC Worldwide.
I appreciate the boys over at the Wrestle Collective. I always appreciate my partner in crime here, Juice. I appreciate Jordan. I am at Andrew Baydala. This was our first show on the Wrestle Purist channel. There's more to come. If you like this if you like this show, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment to Wrestle Purist. Make sure you follow them on X. Make sure you follow myself, Juice, and Jordan. Here's the news about the Hardys, which really isn't news. I mean, if you're just using your brains, your noggins, which a lot of you got 2 brain cells rattling up there, but here you go. I'll put this together for you. The Hardys are going to have a WWE run. Okay. They're already kind of having it in NXT, but I'm going to tell you this. I do believe the Hardys will have a WrestleMania run coming up as a tag team. There you go. They will be done with NXT and they will be on the quote unquote main roster. So look out for it. It's really not a bold prediction. It's just facts. We don't do dirt, just dialogue. I'm Andrew Baydala. That's Juice Springsteen. That's Jordan. Appreciate everybody. Hope you guys and girls enjoyed the show. And we will catch your asses down the road. Adios.